Welcome to this pep talk about energy of the Alliance for Pulmonary Hypertension. My name is Louise Bouman, and 18 years ago I was diagnosed with severe PAH. I was in functional class 4. I immediately had to start with epoprostenol per IV. At that time I had a newborn and a toddler of almost 2 years. My days were constantly busy with my kids. They were always leading the pace. Lucky enough, my mom and my husband helped a lot, certainly the period right after diagnosis. Sleep came only when they slept. Managing my own energy was a long and challenging learning process. And today I want to share what I learned, the long learning curve, the mistakes, and how I created space for myself, my dreams, and my spirit. At first, I pushed myself constantly. Mistakes happened because I overestimated my energy. Also happens because you only feel bad the day after you did too much. Learning to live with PAH and an IV pump already took a great deal of my energy. On top of that, I also had to take care of my children. I felt like life was running ahead and I was just trying to keep up. Surviving mode, I would say. I had to learn that PAH doesn't pause for life's demands, but I could learn to work with it. Learning to manage energy with PAH is a long journey. You will stumble, you will fall, but you will also stand up again. I have to say, I learned the hard way, having many, many bad days after crossing my boundaries. Learning what your boundaries are and accepting them isn't giving up, it's survival and freedom. It's not something you'll figure out in a short period of time, that's undoable. But really be patient with yourself and don't be too hard for yourself, because you are allowed to make mistakes. And keep moving. It might seem something you don't expect, but sitting all day makes fatigue worse. Even small movements, walking a few steps or stretching, are very powerful. If you don't do anything, you lose your motivation, not only physically, but also mentally. Find something you like doing, like walking, yoga, chair yoga, or dancing, and do it in your own pace. So you don't have to make big movements, but just move, just do it. Your body and your mind respond when you move. It takes and gives energy. In those first years, I was constantly busy with my kids. They set the pace. Feeding, changing, soothing, playing, cleaning. Two little boys, always moving, always discovering the world, and I followed in the best way I could. But here's something important. It was a very conscious choice. Because when I was diagnosed, I didn't know what my future would look like. Because I was told if the medication didn't work, I would die within 3 to 5 years. I didn't know if I would see them grow up. So I made a really important decision for myself. I would fully focus on my children. I wanted to enjoy every single moment with them. So I knew that would cost a lot of energy, but I was willing to give it 100%. And sleep just came when they slept. My energy felt like a currency I was constantly spending, but I was choosing where to invest it in. And in that period, I also learned something difficult. Not all friends turned out to be real friends. I had to say goodbye to some relationships. I realized I could not afford to spend energy on people who drained it. That was one of the hardest but most important lessons I learned about spending energy. I became very intentional about who I allowed into my life. Less contact with energy drainers and more space for what truly mattered. At the same time, I learned practical strategies, ordering groceries online instead of going to the store, hiring someone to help with household chores, letting my husband take care of the evening bathing ritual so I could recharge, cooking healthy meals for 2 days instead of one, and then eating half and freezing the other half for a bad day. These strategies didn't make life perfect, not at all, but they really saved energy. They created small pockets of breathing space, and that was crucial, not just for surviving, but also to learn how to thrive. After a couple of years, I reached a turning point. I had accepted that my life would never become like it was before. And my kids went to school at a certain point, and I began to create space in my day just to think, to breathe, and to dream. That shift allowed me to start envisioning a future beyond the illness. Setting new goals, even small ones, kept my spirit alive. But at some point, something bigger started to grow. I have a background in healthcare and marketing, and as I moved further into acceptance, I began to think, what can I do with this knowledge now? I realized that I didn't just want to live with PAH. I wanted to give something back to the PAH community because I felt very lucky that the medication did do the job. My healthcare background helped me understand the disease. My marketing background helped me understand communication, and my lived experience gave it meaning. That's how my new dream was born. I decided to step into the role of patient advocate, to use my voice, my knowledge, and my experience to support other PH patients. Energy management is not just about surviving, it's about creating space so your spirit can burn again. We have physical energy and mental energy. At least I call it mental energy. Maybe it's energy in your soul. I don't know. When one runs low, you can sometimes lean on the other. At least that's how it works for me. And as an example, last year I went to a festival and danced and stood on my feet all afternoon. The wonderful atmosphere and music gave me so much mental energy that it carried my body through the day, and I wasn't even that tired the day afterwards. And when you find a purpose that aligns with who you are, your energy suddenly has direction. And some practical strategies that helped me were prioritize. Know what truly needs your energy and where or who you want to spend it on. And also block your energy. Do important tasks during your peaks. For me, the morning is the best. Then I have the most energy and then I do the most important things. Move and try to improve. I started, I think, with 20 meters of walking, and now, after 18 years, I am able to walk 3 kilometers with my dog without even being out of order afterwards. And that's not something that happens over a week or something, but it's years of practicing. But if you keep on improving yourself, your body will improve too. So just do it. Small steps will get you ahead. Also, rest intentionally. Naps, meditation, whatever you like, just breathing, reading, or watching series. Just take the time to let your body rest for a while. And the most important one and the most difficult one, I suppose, is accepting help. It's not weakness, it's a strategy. And I know it's very difficult to accept it, but you just have to do it for yourself. It's not magic, it's awareness and planning. And I made many, many mistakes, pushing too hard, crossing boundaries. But every mistake taught me where my limits were. Boundaries became visible because of the mistakes. That knowledge became power. It doesn't mean that I never make mistakes anymore. It happens sometimes, and sometimes it's unintentionally, but sometimes I know upfront that I will cross my boundaries. And sometimes it's just worth it to cross boundaries because you can do a lot of nice things then. And it's also about accepting a bad day afterwards. When you live with PAH, energy becomes your most valuable currency. You learn very quickly that it's not unlimited. You cannot waste it. You cannot ignore it. But what I also learned is this: even if your energy is limited, your impact doesn't have to be. I chose to invest my energy in my children. I chose to let go of people who drained it. I chose to ask for help, sometimes at least. I chose to create space for new dreams. And eventually, I chose to use my energy to advocate. Managing your energy is not about shrinking your life. It's about deciding what truly deserves it. Yes, PAH forces you to move differently. Yes, you will make mistakes. Yes, you will cross boundaries. But keep moving. Not running, just moving. Rest when you need it. Protect your energy. Create space for purpose. Because when your energy has direction, your spirit burns again. And that changes everything. Thank you, and I hope this will help you a little bit.